Right, good afternoon. I'm on father duties, so it's a late video, but I've still committed to the cause, I suppose. Um, so yeah, I best you gotta talk about all the things, all the good things, all the bad things. If you're gonna do something like this, that's kind of vital. Interesting conversation with my mum today. I'm starting to put together a bit of a picture about what was going on 50 years ago, then 40 years ago, and 30 years ago, and 20 years ago. That's kind of helping me map out, maybe science seems to have forgotten that you just cannot just keep perpetually doing experiments, because it opens up this whole paradigm to do with time frame of the experiment, like intervention into the experiment, like a lot of bullshit being prescribed and described as science. And rather than things get really fucking messy, like a bunch of, I don't know. I don't know what could be possible, but it's probably a good time to start digging out those skeletons from the closet. To work out who's going to get grandfathered in for the mistreatment of people was going on 50 years ago, and who's, that's not my job to do, really. It's those individuals' jobs and their families' jobs. Otherwise, I fucking guess some really fucking bad shit could happen. Yeah. And let's hope that there isn't a bunch of retarded fucking morons repeating the same shit without any independent science going on. Some type of, I don't know, drug dealing scam. Not not people selling little bags of stuff out the back of a liquor shop. But I'm talking real drug dealers, the real fuckheads, the ones that have had their hooks in our societies for quite a while and have kind of, I think, slowly skulked off to the back edges, hoping that no one brings up things from 50 years ago. I think the best thing is an open confessional, a place where people can go and kind of resolve their sins. We're going to obviously have to be a little bit understanding to these individuals, because we need them to come forward so that we can end this cycle of abuse, because it's a cycle of abuse, because it was started and never finished off, never looped off. Unlike building a chair that hasn't really changed in a long time, and there are some basic laws of physics and material strength and construction methods and glues, there's kind of a select amount of differences. When you're dealing with a human being with infinite variabilities and you're using a blunt instrument I don't know, your mind, to architecturally intervene into people's individual lives with that. I mean, that would take, I think it just really would take a long time before you could be really accurately doing that. But anyway, that's just based on a conversation I had this morning with my mum. My kids are here as well, which is really cool. So I no longer feel like the world is upside down, which fathers feel too. Fathers feel that when their children are taken away from them. It's a very strong feeling, the same as I'm sure mothers feel that, especially if that happens immediately after them giving birth, and then they're kind of propped off into some experiment. That's pretty bad as well, I would guess. Based on, I've seen animals had that happen. That's pretty nasty thing to do to people. Glad that we don't do that anymore, But, you know, can we close some of those loops without, you know, leaving them just open? We need to close those loops, and it takes a lot of work. So maybe if we can find some kind of key things that were going on away from the musings of these kind of drunk, moronic graduates of that same, you know, it's that same place, isn't it? They keep doing the same things. And it's gotten worse in some ways and better in others. So it's complicated. But you've got to take the whole thing as like an effect now. This is obviously an effect of manipulation of a natural standard. There may have been reasoning for that I don't know, because parents have a huge influence. So maybe it was intentional to remove some destructive things. Maybe that was the methodology. I can talk openly about it because I'm not part of some grand conspiracy to change humanity. But yeah, it's leading to some like flare up problems. Like I think if we were talking about like a wing of an aeroplane, maybe not at Boeing because that already fell off, but we'd be probably talking about like there's something wrong with the wings, so the air is flicking off and creating like an irregular turbulence, which is like making the planes behind it crash. It'd be something like that. Like if we were talking about like a fighter pilot squadron of like elite, fucking trained, absolutely like amazing technicians of super planes that can fly in and just pinpoint targets and remove them, and like all that type of shit. Yeah. Well, I didn't even know what I was talking about there. I wandered off down a garden path. Oh, I've wandered down the garden path. This is the other thing, because now I've got 2.5 minutes. Language is crazy. Like learning another crazy, learning dialect and accent and colloquialisms, you've got no chance. So there can't be radical, you know, we can't treat people's mental illness with massive language barriers at all. I've spoken about that a few times. That's a big, big no-no, because you're going to miss everything. You basically I think you can almost only adequately kind of have a chance if you speak their exact dialect, you know, their colloquialisms, and maybe even the same regional area. Like, so the idea of anything else is basically the same as that girl that runs your Nicorette gum through the kiosk at the checkout of the pharmacy, who's probably a lovely girl, but nothing else really is going on in that interaction. It's just like that. And when it flows on and has such a large effect that costs our country so much money, because I could add up just mine and then I times that by a few other, like we start realizing how much money that costs us to have these pharmacy checkout girls or guys or queer folk or trans folk or furries, whatever they are, but to have them just in that distribution thing, basically unable to even explain the basics of their profession and how that's actually supposed to be a science. It's not like that thing that shows you how to flip burgers at McDonald's that has like 4 pictures. It should be a little bit, actually not a little, it should be way more complicated than that. And like I'd really love to have a chat with them in front of a camera and see if I can ping them all for what they're doing. I reckon I'd probably have a 90% success rate. But fucking, I'm not gonna brag. It's not like me to brag about things. But yeah. Anyway, we had like stuffed potatoes for lunch with the kids, and They were brilliant.